YouTube. Danny Staten here on the Daily Dan Blog. I'm back with another comic book review, and this time I've got a special treat for you. I don't know if my guys will call this the good stuff or not, but we'll give it a shot as I'm checking out a Glenn Danzig produced comic book called Goth. That's right, Glenn Danzig versus the Dogman. Today on the Daily Dan Blog. That's right, we're going to dive deep today. We're going into a comic book produced and written by Glenn Danzig, famous rock star. Oh, what could be wrong with a rock star comic book, right? Oh, God. And inside the front cover, we get two eyes from the east. Is it the angel or the beast? It's Goth, so it must be the beast. We got a story by Glenn Danzig. We got a book published by Glenn Danzig. We got it written and colored by a bunch of other goose we can blame if we think it sucks. So we'll have to see how it works out. And here's an address if you want to write Glenn Danzig a letter. That's right, write him a letter and tell him how bad this comic book was. Right here in Los Angeles. Yeah. And as usual, I will call none of these people by the names they've given them in the comic book, because I'm a beep. Our comic book opens with Glenn Danzig looking disheveled. He looks like Gigi, the gorilla gamer, that goof from that video game channel. Yeah, we're going to call him Danzig. Danzig walks into the bar complaining, "You're not going to believe this one, fellas." So in full shiny-ass glossy panels brought to you by the Daily Dan Blog, we get our story underway. Glenn Danzig walk into the bar. He order a straight-up drink. That's right, he says, "Make it a double." That's right. I saw a two-headed werebeast in the woods. 2 heads, I swear. It had 2 heads. Wow. Glenn Danzig may have been doing some drugs. It's at this point that this guy named Nosehair, we'll just call him Lockbeard. It's at that point that Lockbeard showed up and said, "Come on, well, I know somebody that might be able to help you with this." And he take old Gigi Danzig on out the back door to meet up with The Rock. Yeah, he's gonna meet up with The Rock and Seth Rollins. It just don't pay to witness the Dogman or any kind of monster, because crack, bap, and bap, you're knocked out and you're thrown in the back of Lockbeard's van. It's never gonna go good when you're thrown in the back of Lockbeard's van. Oh my God. 1,000 miles away. No, I'm not gonna say that, but 1,000 miles away, something crawls to the shore of a dark Scottish lake. I could make a joke about Scotland right now, but I'm not going to do that because I don't need no more grief. Anyway, the monster thing's all out and about. The monster's eating up everything. It's ripping the head off cattle. It's doing a cattle mutilation. And check out the monster with the horns and stuff. And by the way, I'm not seeing 2 heads. But the human-bodied Hulk with horns dinner is slightly interrupted as he's eating cattle. Blah, 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 blah. And it's interrupted by, of course, the 2-headed Dogman, because dogmen by themselves isn't enough. Dogmen really need, yes, it's true, they need 2 heads to be really cruel dogmen. Anyway, there's a whole pack of these dogmen, and apparently the leader has 2 heads, and that's enough to make you want to poke your eyes out right there, isn't it? So in a full panel centerfold, that's right, the Goth beast, as it's being called, is attacked by the Dogmen wolf creatures, and their bites seem to have no effect. So the 2-headed wolf beast is no match for the Goth creature. After a brief battle, it ensues. Goth creature stands tall, and Wolf's head is on a stick in his mama's front yard. I can relate to that. We flash forward. I guess we flash forward to the next page, and we find out this chick. The chick, well, is called Desiree. Desiree's headed out to Area 51. Desiree's visiting Area 51. It's a U.S. government closed facility. Desiree and her bald-headed boyfriend, looks like Sophia and Captain Q-Ball here, are gonna meet the guards at Area 51 and have a little bit of trouble here today. So in full panels, brought to you by the Daily Dan Blog, we see Sophia, looking only as Sophia can, get arrested by the Men in Black. That's right, the Men in Black showed up and puts the kibosh on everybody trying to invade Area 51. How did this even happen? Because it wouldn't be a real cool comic book if you didn't put in some guys trying to invade Area 51 and getting busted up by the men in black as they try to figure out what's going on, and I'll tell you what's going on. It's a genetic program at Area 51. That's right. They're creating monsters at Area 51 as the plot is revealed in this really horribly drawn panel. Oh, God. And I give credit where credit's due. The art in this book's okay, but I do not like the shiny, glossy panels that accompany this kind of art. It's just too shiny. I like the old school look, the drab comic books of the 1960s and 70s. So from the mind of Glenn Danzig, we get Goth, a comic book about creatures being genetically altered, genetically controlled by the U.S. government. It almost sounds real in these full, shiny, glossy panels that are really hard to see. Yes, true. Sophia and the guys are led down a dark hall by the mutant master. And I love the way they don't name them. They just call these things the Goth creatures. See, there's the proof in the pudding right there. Goth creatures. And that's why we get another ugly, mutated Goth creature that we have no idea what it is. Controlled by the pinheads at Area 51, who Sophia finds very interesting. It's interesting how you do that. It's genetic alteration at its greatest. Oh, God, I hate this comic book so much. And it's also got to be one of the shortest comic books I've ever seen in my life. It really ends right here, just like that. So basically, we get Glenn Danzig's guys hunting a monster for the first part of the comic. Second part of the comic, something totally different, where we find specimens being held at Area 51. And I guess you have to buy the next comic to figure out what happens now. Yeah, well, it's from 1996. Here's some addresses you can write and figure out what to do about this piece of garbage. Anyway, this will be one of the shortest comic book reviews I've ever done. Apparently, you can even answer all these questions if you want to. I'm not going to do that. Guess what? I guess you could order some Danzig tour shirts. I don't even know what to say about that. But anyway, you could order these shirts here in the back of this comic book in 1996. I bet nobody ordered this crap. Sunglasses at the dark. You got Mad Woman and Vampire Slayers and Murderers. Well, we should have got this comic book. I bet that would have been a better comic book to review than this one. Sunglasses at the dark. And the Adventures of Super D. Super D. I guess that means super-sized D's. Oh my God, you can order this for $15. I don't know if that's worth $15 in 1996 or not. And if you're having trouble finding comic books put out by Glenn Danzig, here's the places you could find them in Ohio. A lot of them in Ohio. I'm going to try to go through them all real quick. They even got phone numbers you can call up the comic book places, provided they're still around. That's one in Chicago. So if you're up for WrestleMania, you might want to check that out. And then we get a collection for Satanica, a comic book series I've never heard of called Satanica. And Satanica's so bad. Oh my God. Want some head? I had to censor this. I really did. Wow. There's something wrong with that. I hope this comes up as the thumbnail. Uh-oh. Erotica. I sent some of these to my friend Dr. Wu. I hope he liked them. And you can't go wrong with back issues of the Jaguar God. What Jaguar God? I think I'd rather have Dartman over here than the Jaguar God. What about you? Look, and Devil Man. The new comics from Vortex Comics in 1996. I bet this thing went out of business. I bet you don't see too many Vortex comics around now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hey, look, it's the Phantom Lady. And that guy looks familiar. You can't go wrong with a comic book with Charles Manson on the cover. Oh my God. And Genocyber, another ripoff about a metal monster. Oh my God, what's wrong with these people? Okay, it's official. This could be the worst comic book I've ever seen in my life. One of the top 5 worst comic books. I like the art in it, okay, but it's shiny, it's glossy, the story don't make sense. It's full of ads for expensive crap that nobody would ever buy. And at least they didn't waste the back cover as we get a commercial for Death Dealer. Whatever the heck Death Dealer is. So, Dave Sunstorm, let me know if you think this is the good stuff. A special shout out to Dave Sunstorm and his brother Steven Sunstorm, Pat McCormick at the Golden Razor TV, and my main man, Thrash Pondo Pons. I should have did shout outs earlier. With a special attention to my flock is everywhere, Retro Nerd Girl, the Nostalgic Podcast, Corey's Comedy Channel, Big Guys 45, BK on the air, and the Unapologetic Geek, who don't read my comments. So that's my look at Goth number 2 from 1996, an incredibly huge piece of crap, put out by Glenn Danzig, who wrote the story and published the comic book. And do us a favor, Glenn. Don't do no more comic books. And maybe next week I'll be back with something a little bit better. Till next time, this is Danny Staten on the Day Damn Blog. Thanks for joining me, and be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and let me apologize for this now. I'm sorry for this comic book. But sure look good on the wall, right? Blog over.